I didn't want it in the first place, and I have to say it's not the most enjoyable thing to be doing with summer. When we get the chance to get away from Westminster and get back to our constituencies, I'd much rather be focused on my constituents and not on a leadership election.
I mean, is the problem here almost just that during this leadership campaign, there are so many promises coming out, left, right and centre. It's like the 2019 Conservative manifesto doesn't exist. And frankly, whoever becomes Prime Minister is only going to have a couple of years before they face a general election. How on earth is anyone going to keep up with all these promises?
Well, keeping up with them is one challenge, but keeping, as you said, tabs on them is something else, isn't it? And we're going to have to be relying on you, Alex, and others to make sure that whoever is elected leader of the party and therefore the Prime Minister does deliver on the promises they've made during this round of hustings. It is going to be a challenge. They are making some significant promises.
And I mean, a few people coming out now supporting Liz Truss. Are you rather cynical like me and think that perhaps as soon as it seems like one person's favourite to win, that they suddenly start getting backing in the hope that, other MPs will be in their good books?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of cynics around, aren't there? And, I'll leave you to draw your own conclusions. But it does beg the question, doesn't it, that when one candidate is said to be drawing ahead, that there is a flurry to be supportive of that particular candidate. But, of course, that's for them, and I'll leave you to be the judge.
Now, poor old Rishi doesn't seem to be doing very well when it comes to the comms side of his campaign, because it does seem to people out there he keeps flip-flopping when it comes to tax promises. I get it. He wants to control inflation first and do the tax cuts later, but he's not been very effective at really communicating that. People see him as now rushing to try and catch up with Liz Truss and giving out promises that perhaps he never intended to do.
Yeah, it could look like that. But in fairness to Rishi, I think it's fair to say that he has already announced the 1% tax cut that he hopes to deliver before the end of this Parliament. So he has made that clear that, tax cutting is what he wants to do. But what he's also done, and he's right, inflation will eat pay rises, it will eat tax cuts, and it will eat your savings. Unless you deal with inflation first, the rest is somewhat academic in a way. And I think he does make a good point that we need to get our house in order before we start cutting taxes. Maybe we shouldn't have put national insurance up in the first place, and we should have found a different way to try and deal with the NHS backlog and social care. But we've done it now, and if we suddenly release all that money back into the economy, it will, in all likelihood, become inflationary.